I was born in 1961. I'm 64 years old. I have been lifting weights for over 50 years. Right now, I weigh 190 pounds, and I just recently did a 4-plate 405 back squat. This is how. This all started a couple of years ago, these posting 4-plate over 60 back squats, when I came across this article that had been expert recommended and fact checked, saying that if you're over 50, you can't do back squats anymore. Needless to say, I disagreed, and I posted a video in response. About a year later, 63 now, because I did the first one when I was 62, 63 now, got to post another video. Now I'm 64, and got to post another video. This one is a little different though. The obvious. I am 64, so I'm a year older, 2 years older than when I started doing this. I have also lost a lot of weight. I have dropped about 20 pounds. As I said, I'm down to 190 right now. Now, yes, I lost some strength, not really all that much. And I mean, I just love it. I feel better. I look better. And I have to say, adding in, more of a physique focus. It's really been a positive all the way around. As I said, I like the way I look better. I haven't lost very much strength. And being always focused on strength. Strength is a very harsh focus to have. Having more of a physique focus, it opens up more possibilities. There's a broader horizon. What you're doing in terms of your training and your diet and everything. It just has a more broader application. And I definitely think it's been a great thing for me. Now, while both of those matter, the really big difference is this. All of this came out of my right elbow, May 2025. Now, I've been having issues since the 2000s. Issues I knew something was going on, and I was actively choosing to ignore it. I kind of adhere to the philosophy that if your body hurts you, hurt it back. I didn't do anything about it until like 2022. I finally had some film taken, and they're like, oh yeah, you got a lot of junk in there, you need to get out. And 3 years later, I finally decided, okay, time to do this, because I really was starting to lose, some flexion and extension, had lost a lot, was losing a lot. It's time to do something about it. Now, I had this idea, because of the surgery's coming up on when my birthday is going to be coming up. And I had this idea, I could prepare for it, get ready for it. It's just an elbow. They're going to take junk out of there that doesn't even count anyways. I mean, bone spurs are not what you're supposed to have. They're just going to get rid of them. Be no problem. I'll be out of the gym for like a week. I'll be right back in there. No issues. And I'll do my squat thing and it'll be cool. And my surgeon was kind of, I don't think it's going to work that way. And yeah, he was right. It was a lot more difficult than I had anticipated or hoped for or wished for. I did take a week off. I had originally thought I was going to, just take a week off and I'll be right back in the gym. Well, I took a week off, and I did go back to the gym. And the week off was, make sure stitches don't rip, stuff like that. And after the week off, I'm going to go back to the gym and I'm going to start in on squats, because, squats, elbow, there's no correlation there. Shouldn't be any issues. I'll be okay. Despite the fact that my arm was swollen up like a balloon. I couldn't properly bend and straighten it for nothing. It felt like a hunk of dead meat half the time, and I got in the gym and I discovered, when you have 1 1/8 arms, it's hard to put the bar up in the rack. And it's kind of hard to put the plates on the side as well. And then when you go just to get under the bar and you need your left arm to help your right arm get up on the bar, and then when you're up there and it's like everything is wrong. So it didn't work out the way I planned. The position on my back was wrong, and of course that threw everything else off. And plus my arm wasn't, offering any stability or anything else like that. So to an extent that I really didn't plan for, it was a bit of back to the drawing board. Also at the same time dealing with the fact that my arm was pretty much close to useless. A lot of people aren't aware of this, but your body tries to maintain bilateral symmetry. And what that means is that if you train your left arm, your right arm will get some response out of it. So even though I was, not really doing anything serious, I was training my upper body as well, but it was kind of sucky in that, I'd have like on a machine, I'd have 3 plates. I'm lifting with my left arm, and I've got like maybe a 5-pound plate on my right arm. So there was that I was dealing with, which was not very much fun. And that took well over 2 months before it started to kind of correct itself, shall we say. And I think the second month was the worst, because that's long enough that I'm starting to see, yes, I'm getting, I'm losing conditioning on my right side, and I'm still trying to just get it to work at all. So it wasn't a great time. And I would say it took me until, well, I know exactly how long it took me as far as my squats go. It took me until July 4th before everything was working well enough that I actually got the bar on my back, and it felt like it was where it was supposed to be, how it was supposed to be. One thing I'd say that this experience has really, driven home for me is how important it is to have that good, solid position on your back. That bar needs to be, like, I call it, bedded into your back. You do not want that thing to be wanting to move at all. Your hands should only be up there for stabilization. Now, you don't have to be able to do something like this. I mean, this is, this is just stupid. And it's something I did, I think at least a decade ago. The kid I was working out with, who was like less than half my age, started doing these. He said Misha Koklayev or somebody was doing them because he hurt his shoulder. So he started doing them. And of course, I thought, well, I've got to do it, and I've got to do more weight, and anyone who thinks wisdom that comes with age, not in my experience. But this is a stupid thing to do. But it does demonstrate the fact that, you don't have to necessarily do a full squat, but that bar should be stable enough on your back that when you step out, you really don't need your hands. Yes, when you're doing the work, the set, because there's motion taking place. But when you step out, that bar should be stable, aligned on your back, not wanting to slide down, not wanting to push your head forward. It should feel like it's connecting through your whole body right to the floor. You need that. Trust me, you need that if you're going to do anything decent. Now, again, it took me until July 4th before I got that feeling back. And then I had to deal with the other hard part about squatting that I was getting a little bit, lesson on, reacquainted with, is the bottom position. It's top position, bottom position. That is everything. You get those two right, and the in-between will pretty much take care of itself. And bottom position is, you want control and stability. The big issue with bottom position is that as you're coming down, there is momentum in the bar. You have to first stop that momentum, and then you have to turn it around, and you have to drive it back up. And that is going to take some time. It's just physics. It's going to take some time to get that bar stopped and to get it moving up. And you have to be able to hold your position, hold your form during all of that. You can't start to tip forward or anything else like that. A lot of people try and do pause squats for those to develop that. I'm not a big fan of pause squats, because when you stop and you hold that position, you have now changed what the motion is, how your body, your muscles are being used. And what you really want, and I do this usually if I do a set, if I want to do this, I'll be my last rep in a set, where it's a stop. It's not a pause. Complete stop, then go and up, because that's what you're trying to train yourself to do, is that the time it takes to create that reversal while holding on to your technique. And, once I got the shoulder, the bar position back again, then I had to develop that again. And, I would say it was, like I said, July 4th before I kind of got those two things straightened out. And now I could start thinking about getting back to that 405. Now, as you might imagine, my views and my expression of strength, my pursuit of strength, has evolved over the years. I started out pretty much like everybody did, 1 RM, 1 rep max, that was everything. But that 1 rep max thing, that is a very harsh, I was talking about that harsh, attitude or environment you create for yourself when you're doing that. it's either you get it or you're burned. And when you're talking about, 1 rep max, you also tend to peak out with your 1RMs somewhere in your late 20s to your middle 30s. Now you can hold it for a while, but you're going to start slipping after a while. And again, I already explained, it's part of the reason I got moved into the physique thing. I think it's a natural progression, but particularly with this, my view on strength right now is I'm not looking so much for my 1RM, that one lift I can do only one time every 3-6 months, maybe one time in my life. I'm looking for what I call 90% strength. I want an expression of 90% strength. What does that mean? That means strength that I can reach 9 times out of 10 when I go to the gym. Sets and reps that I can do 9 days out of 10, probably more like 19 days out of 20. But I'm looking for something that is reliable, everyday expression of strength. That, of course, means multi-rep maxes, not doing the 1 rep max, not pursuing the 1 rep max. And in my workouts, what I'm looking for right now with my squats, and has been for a while, is I'm looking for that set rep combination that gives me the feeling of it's strength and it's work and it's reliable, it's challenge, but it's not threatening. I feel like I'm getting good, productive, adaptive stress out of it, but not something that I'm like, oh shit, I'm going to make this today. No, I want to have that there, that's reliable, that I can do this. And for my back squats, that is 2 weights, 335 and 365. Now the 335 is generally, I'm going to look for at least 6 reps. Sometimes I do more. And that's kind of the primer. That's kind of saying, when I hit the bottom on that first one and it kind of pops up a little for me, that's a good feeling to say, yeah, I'm ready to move forward with the rest of my workout. The 365, that is really the strength test set for me, because I'm generally looking for 5 reps. And the reason I'm looking for 5 reps is because 5 reps is a multi-rep max equivalent of with 365. 5 reps with 365 is a multi-rep max equivalent of 405. So I'm getting that feeling of, yes, I have the strength to do 405 without all the mental and physical stress of constantly trying to do 405. And when I do my warm-up, or when I do my workouts now, I've also adopted something that's a little different, I think, than what most people do. I started this a couple of years ago. I do a wave on my squats. So when I'm doing my back squats, I'll start with 135. Then I'll do 235 and 335. I do 100-pound jumps. I want a little bit of that kind of shock in there, because the thing is when you make a 100-pound jump and you pick it up and you can handle it, that's a good confidence builder. And it also, I find if you warm up too slow, especially for me, that it kind of dulls your aggression down. So the 100-pound jumps do that for me. And when I hit 335, what I do is I go back down to 225, and then I go up to, say, 315 or 330, something in that range, and then I take the 365. Now, it's not going to work for everybody, and I'm not going to try and get into any complex, biomechanical, scientific, who knows why it works. What it feels to me is that it makes me more comfortable in a way. It also makes me more aggressive in a way, having been there and gone back down. And I think the reason something I would compare it to is if you go swimming on a coolish day and you get out of the water and you get back in, the water will feel warmer the second time getting back in. So when I go up to that 335 and I drop down and come back up again, it feels better for me. And that's just my way of doing it. Take it for what it's worth. Those, however, are the sets that I'm working for to establish that base, that foundation, that 90% strength foundation that I can go after the 405. Now, I'm in no hurry. I've been doing this a long time. And I always tell people, the weights will be here tomorrow. The question is, will you? So, yes, I established that 365 for 5, but that is not enough as far as I'm concerned, because 365 jumping to 405, that's a fairly big jump. That's about a 10% jump. And when you hit that 405, you've taken it out, it is going to feel so different. This is, again, my experience. Everybody's a little different, but for me, it's like, oh wow, that's a big change. And then the motion, because it's a heavier weight, you're going to move slower. You're going to take going down, you're going to take a little longer in the bottom. So what I find is that once I establish that foundation, I've got my 365 for 5s, and this is reliable. I'm doing this like every workout, 365 for 5, 365 for 5, 365 for 5. Once I've established that foundation of strength, then I'm going to go and start familiarizing myself mentally and physically with the difference in the load I'm going to experience when I hit 405. And I want to get to within 5%. So that's 385 basically. And that's exactly what I did. Once I got to that point of I'm doing 365 consistently every workout I come in, and it feels good. And I actually, sometimes I'm doing my stop set on my last set with 365. Yeah, it grinds a little bit coming up, but a stop set after 5 reps, that's good. And that's when I started to move to 385 and 390 and 395. And at that point, I've done everything I need to do the 405, everything I can to prepare myself to hit that 405. Now it's just a question of waiting for the right time. Now, I don't know how other people train, but I don't use programs. I've almost never used programs, partly because I'm doing this so long. I know exactly what I'm going to be doing. I mean, the thousands and thousands of workouts I've done, yeah, I got it kind of memorized now. The other reason is I just don't think you can predict how you're going to feel, when you're going to be ready. You're going to say on such and such date, I'm going to do X, Y. You don't know that. There's so many factors that affect how you perform in the gym. You have to have the flexibility. You have to be able to adjust and either up a little bit, down a little bit, whatever it is. But you just cannot predict and control all the conditions that go into your performance. So even though I was ready in all respects, I still had to wait for when I was ready to go. Now, I did have kind of a date in mind. It was a Sunday. I think it was October 12th. I thought October 12th. And this is a couple weeks out, and think, okay, I think I'm going to be ready then. That, it's a Sunday, it's quiet in the gym, everything else like that. But the Saturday before that, a week prior Saturday, I'm working out, and I just start getting it. You work out and you get that aggression. You start, I'm just like, and I'm thinking, I'm not going to wait. I'm not going to wait. Oh, fine. Throw 405 on the bar. I'm ready to go. I always made sure I had my phone in my gym bag. So in case I get that moment where I'm going to do something like this, I can film it. I can prove that I did that. So yeah, I threw 405 on the bar. Now, mental preparation is a big, big part of this. And this is one of the reasons I also think that 1-rep maxes are so harsh, because there's so much mental preparation. While I'm standing there with that bar, I'm not just visualizing what I'm doing. I'm kind of doing a somatic visualization of what I'm going to be doing, what my body's going to be doing, reminding myself I'm going to hit the bottom and I'm going to have to hold. I have to wait until I can get that weight, the bar moving back up. And, I run through that checklist, and this is what happened. So, yeah, I am chuffed. And the thing I really like about that rep too, there was no point. You see a little, I'm working a little, it's 405, but there was no point during that lift that I ever doubted that I was going to complete the lift. And, I'm chuffed. I'm so excited by it. The idea that told me 10 years ago that I'd be almost 20 pounds lighter and doing a 4-plate back squat now, I wouldn't have believed you. I genuinely am kind of amazed that I'm able to do this. And I consider myself very lucky that I'm able to do this. And, something I'm going to say about that, and this is for anyone who's, trying to achieve something, somebody told me a long time ago, luck is when preparation meets opportunity. That's why, regardless of age, you never stop preparing, because you never know when luck will give you the opportunity. Enjoy the video? Let me know. Please like, comment, share,
and subscribe.